This is welcome to the open house.
When I first walked into the house, it was a nice surprise. I've kind of seen the house develop over the last few months, heard about the development of the house over the last few years. So it's really coming together. I've seen it at kind of initial stages, and so seeing the floors and the walls painted and the windows and just seeing the plans come to life is a pretty neat experience.
It's really beautiful. It's open, and the upstairs is incredibly bright and full of sun. It's like a perfect combination between modern but still warm.
This house is beautiful. It's I love the colors first and foremost. They're bright enough. They leave you with that sort of happy feeling when you initially see them, and they're neutral. So I feel like it would work with anything. I'm always thinking about that as a woman because I like to change my furniture, not too often, but over a period of time, consistently. So I love that it's neutral and it's bright, and I especially love how much light there is in the room, in this room in particular, but also throughout the house. You guys have made really good use of the angled walls and placed the windows, I suppose, strategically, allowing a lot of really natural, beautiful light to come in. But what I especially loved about the upper floor was the angled ceilings and the windows. The light is absolutely amazing up there.
I know this neighborhood really well, so when I walked up to the front door, I found it very exciting to see one of the older homes, being renovated, and instead of tearing down and rebuilding, it's nice to see one of the older homes being made modern, half modern, and I think it's a good mixture that it's also kept some of the old charms. So when I walked in, I was really surprised to see that the work had been done and the results of it.
Most people, when they want more space, they hire a designer or an architect, and they end up having an addition in the back only, and the rest of the space is not addressed. What we made in this renovation was seeing the whole footprint of the house as a whole and rethinking where we want the space to be and where the family would need more space or less space, while adding modestly, trying to be modest in our addition. We created a whole new footprint of the house, so that would be what I like most about this project.
So the main thing that we wanted to change about our house was actually the quality of living. So what I mean by that is that when the house was first built, it was designed for a lifestyle back in the 50s. So the kitchen was segregated, the bedrooms were quite small, there was very little closet space, and there wasn't really what we would call an area for office work at home. And so what we were looking for when we changed this house was to be able to adapt the house to our current lifestyle, where both my husband and I are working. We work late at night sometimes. That it's just nice to be able to work at home as opposed to staying at the office very late. So from a quality of life perspective, that helped us spend more time with our kids during dinner time, after dinner time, knowing that we could at least work from home in the evenings afterwards.
I think this will very much help me with raising my family. I think the house fits in well with the neighborhood and kind of what my family needs. Like, my kids didn't have their own bedroom, and now they'll be able to grow up in this neighborhood, and it'll kind of fit their needs. They'll be able to do their homework. My wife and I will be able to help cook for them and help them with their schoolwork, and hopefully get some additional fun times in as well.
These days we live a completely different lifestyle than the formal ways of last century. There's no servants cooking in the kitchen, everybody cooks a little bit, the kids need to be with their parents while they do homework, so that implies that we need a lot of open space, or the open space is much more convenient for how we live today. That being said, it feels more open. Psychologically, it's a different feel than the formal closed space of the past. So it's both more functional, but also much more pleasant to live in.
I like the openness of the house right now. Like, when I walk in, I see a lot of sunlight, and we did not have that before in our old small bungalow house. It was always our house, but right now it just feels open, and it just it gives itself to, you know, allowing ourselves to be creative in here and you know, enjoy our lives just a little bit more.
I think one of the nicest things about taking an older home and doing renovations on it is that you're able to keep the separate rooms but yet open it up so that you have the feel of the openness, but at the same time you still have little areas and little nooks and crannies that I think are really important to the character of a house. So I think that's probably the charm of the work that's been done here, is that the character remains, but yet it's been improved and it really is beautiful.
Just knowing what my sister and brother-in-law were looking for before in terms of space and having some room, but having family space at the same time, I think it's really been achieved with this overall concept.
My favorite part of the house, I think, is really the spaciousness of it without being so large. And again, back to what I had mentioned earlier, Moneca's philosophy is about living well, but in the least amount of space that you need to live well. So whether it's 2,000 square feet or whether it's 800 square feet, it's just living well within your means. And so that's what I love about this house, is that we've gained that sense of spaciousness, we've gained that sense of just ability to do things in a house in many different areas that we just never had before. And I think that's really, it's a quality of the house that's really my favorite part of the house.
My first thing, most important, is always the kitchen. So when I walked in, seeing the open concept and the tile work is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's certainly a centerpiece of the whole home, so I was really impressed with the kitchen.
If I was to pick a few things that I really love about the house, it would be the bathroom on the main level. I love like the steam enclosure and the tiles on the ground. I think Moneca's got a way of choosing tiles that I might see in a store and think are too dark or too this or too that, but in the house they look just awesome.
You know what, the hardest decision I had to make was the paint color. That's again why I love working with Moneca, is that she really listens to sort of what we're looking for, and then what she does is she filters down the choices that we have to face. And for me, that is what helps me kind of proceed with such a large project. I get overwhelmed with so many decisions. So as you know, with paint color, you know, there's hundreds and thousands of colors you can pick from. So I adore that Moneca would just allow us to sort of say, you need X color, Y color, and that's it. And so I did pick, but then when Moneca wasn't around, I second guessed and then just went out and bought like a bunch of paint for something else. And to be honest, I regret it. So Moneca's usually right, and there was no, I guess to tie it back to working with Moneca, there's really no crazy story because she's always been so involved with our decision-making process, and she keeps us sort of online with our original vision. So really no crazy stories at all.
Yeah. So Moneca and I know each other because Moneca actually did our renovation back in February and March. We were referred to Moneca by DM, whose house we're in right now. And our renovation was a gut of our main floor. It wasn't an addition, so we were able to do it during the winter time. So we ended up bumping DM and doing our renovation first. And Moneca was lovely to work with. We met her once and we knew right away that it was a perfect match. And she took our ideas, our really basic ideas, and ran with them. And we didn't have to do anything. She gave us a number at the beginning of the project and said, this is how much it's going to cost. And we made it work, and it didn't go over at all. And she also really picked everything, and we love it. We still love it. We sit every day and think, I love this space.
And I don't go in low, I go in high, and I don't do extras. And I lose people because of that. And the ones who have heart and can trust their heart, they stay, and like we make nice homes for them.
Exactly. No, we knew right away that it was a perfect match. And like Moneca said, she came in with a number, and that was the number that we got at the end. We didn't pay $1 extra from what she quoted, and the renovation was perfect. It was everything and better. The countertops, which were originally supposed to be only 1 inch thick of wood block, ended up being 2 inches thick, and
We fixed the heat. We took
fixed
care.
the ductwork. Like I just feel better about the space too. Like our kids are able to play in the back, and they have a great, wonderful play area. You don't walk through toys to get to their space anymore, and it's a really adult feeling space, but it really works for our family as well. And Monica recognized that. You did. You knew right away that that's how it needed to be. And
Sarah was like the perfect client. She was like, well, what do you think? We'll go with that. And that's good. It's true. And it gave me so much space and freedom, and it was efficient so that I could give those little extras.
Absolutely.
And then you came to my party, and we had such a nice time. And anyways, it's been a
pleasure to know her.
Yeah, and vice versa.
And so now we're touring another one of Monica's renovations, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm really impressed with how the space is so much lighter than it was before. The extra windows, the color, it's very Monica and very perfect.
I'm going to admit, working with Monica is a challenge, but in a really good way. And what I mean by that is the reason why we chose Monica is that she's not afraid to share her point of view, her philosophy on house building, and she's confident in her views. So when there's a bit of a discrepancy between our views and her views, she's not shy to discuss. And so, not that it was challenging in the sense that we thought it was hard to work with her. It was challenging in the sense that we had to sort of face our assumptions of how we wanted to design our house, and we had to sort of figure out, are our assumptions correct, or are we sort of holding on to ideals from magazines that aren't necessarily true? So we had bought this house 5 years ago with the intention of renovating and sort of expanding it to sort of what we needed for our current lifestyle. And so that was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we lived in a condo that the way it was designed, it allowed us to host gatherings like this where we would have 30, 40 people over. So being able to walk into this house today and see 30, 40 people in our house is a very, it's a sure sign that we're on the right track back to sort of the lifestyle that we were looking for, which is to be able to share our home with our friends, our neighbors, and to be able to sort of promote relationships.
I would love to live in this house. The best thing about this house is the neighborhood. I actually live in this neighborhood, so I understand that even the house was small before, they really wanted to stay here, so they transformed a small bungalow in a great neighborhood, in a big house in a great neighborhood. So that's the best of both worlds.
I love the area, and I think that with what's been done here, it's a really nice family home. There's lots of space, it's very open, and it's a really nice living arrangement kind of style. So, yeah.
I live in a condo personally myself right now, but if I was looking for a house in terms of the location and the area, I think this is a great spot, especially if you're raising kids. In terms of the house itself, it's there's nothing that I would say that I don't like about the design. I feel like it kind of achieves the open concept, but you also get the privacy of having room separation upstairs and downstairs. You still have a backyard, you have a front yard, you have a stoop, so there's lots of different features that you can enjoy in this place.
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the house of my dreams yet. I think we have to grow into it and really feel it. But we couldn't be more than happy with Monica's work. She's done a fantastic job. She's listened to our needs, and she's put together some options and let us be part of the design process. So we really couldn't be happier with what she's done here for us and our family.
Like, the design phase is the most important phase there is, because that's where you will manage your costs and all the requirements that you have to sort of do it in a very thoughtful way. So if we didn't stay true to that design plan we had, with minor variations here and there that we could work with, I really think we would have blown over our budget and sort of face a situation where you hear horror stories like you do in the newspaper.